Alright guys, I know you know it since the beginning of the week, but we will get the new Raidraptor stuff. I unfortunately was again in a vacation or on a vacation, which is why I did not make any videos concerning this subject. I also did not make any leaks, but obviously we will have new leaks possibly tomorrow. So this will be something that will be live on the channel. I'm once again back and we will also be streaming the new pack come Thursday, even though I'm not quite sure whether we want to pick up anything from the new pack because as of right now I'm not that interested. But the answer or the question that I want to answer in this video is, how strong will Raidraptors be? Will it be a meta contender? Will it be a tier 1 deck, or will it more or less be a deck that falls to the side? Obviously, if you want to play this deck, if you're excited for the cards, then this is super nice. Go ahead, I will show you the base combo here in this video, talk about some problematic points with the deck and then some upsides with the deck, obviously, and we will answer the question whether this is a good deck or not, whether you should get this or maybe skip the pack considering what else will come in the pack, which probably will be known tomorrow then when we get the new leak. So let's look at the stuff. What are we going to do here? It's an XYZ deck. Obviously we can start here. Let's show off a cool one card combo with Raidraptor Tribute Lanius, which we can normal summon, and then during a main phase, if this card was special or normal summon, we can send one Raidraptor card from our deck to the graveyard. This is what we are going to do. Going to send the Fuzzy Lanius, which if he is sent to the graveyard can then activate to grab us another Fuzzy Lanius to the hand. And then it says, if you control a Raidraptor monster other than Raidraptor Fuzzy Lanius, you can special summon this card from your hand. So the first thing that is a bit problematic here, hand trap wise, is that this is very weak to Drawn in Lockbird. Because if you get Drawn in Lockbird here, then you have a problem, obviously, because then you won't be able to add the really important cards that you need for the strong parts of the combo. So first and foremost, this is very weak against Drawn in Lockbird, which is not that big of a problem because not everyone is playing Drawn in Lockbird. So we can probably basically continue from here because, as I already said, not really a hand trap that is in rotation a lot. So we can special summon this guy. Now we have 2 level 4 monsters, which is something you always want to reach. This is the first thing that you can keep in mind if you want to counter this deck in the future. If your opponent gets 2 level 4 bodies on the field, that's nice for him because this is what he wants. So if you can deny at all any of these level 4 bodies, so for example destroy one of them that was special summoned with the Promethean Princess in your grave or whatever deck you are playing, then this is nice. We are going to overlay this for the Raiders Knight, which there will be a card, I will show you this when we are later on the combo on, that you can use to make this combo better, because this is one of the most important choke words in the entire combo. If you have an effect value or an infinite impermanence here, then throwing this on the Raiders Knight will basically end the turn. Raiders Knight says you can detach raw material from this card, special summon from your extra deck one the Phantom Knights, Raidraptor or XYZ Dragon XYZ monster that is 1 rank higher or lower than this card by using this face-up card you control as material, but destroy it during your opponent's next end phase. This is nice. We are going to do this. We are going to detach to get one of the new Raidraptor cards, the Brave Strix. And then it says you can only use 1 per turn. You can detach raw material from this, and we can set 1 Raidraptor spell and trap. This is what we are going to do to set ourselves the rank up magic Skip Force. This is an old card. We can target 1 Raidraptor XYZ monster. We control special summon from our extra deck 1 Raidraptor XYZ monster 2 level higher than this. So this is what we are going to do, targeting our Brave Stick into Arsenal Falcon, an old card that you might know already. We can detach raw material from this card, special summon 1 level 4 Winged Beast monster from our deck. The spell goes into the graveyard, and we will do the effect that I just read here to get the Noir Ladies. During your main phase, if this card was a normal or special summon, you can target 1 Raidraptor monster you control, add 1 Raidraptor monster with a different level than that from your deck to your hand. This is what we are going to do here, grabbing the Heal Eagle. It's level 3, and we can special summon it if we control Raidraptors. So this is what we're going to do. And obviously, if it wasn't clear by now, this deck is also very weak into Nip, because obviously we have summoned more than 5 times. I think the 5th summon was on 1-2, the Raidraptor guy, Brave Strix. Arsenal Falcon was the 5th summon. So waiting for the, is this like, yeah, you would have to do this here. So you can Nip here after the Arsenal Falcon if you want to. Then again, if this card is sent to the graveyard while it has a Raidraptor monster as material, we can then special summon a Raidraptor XYZ monster. So with your Nibiru, you might want to wait until this thing here is gone. Then again, the next card that is coming is unaffected, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. But Nip always hits hard against this deck. This is what I wanted to communicate here. So we are going to put these 2 away for our link to a Raidraptor Wise Strix, and now we can go chain link 1 Wise Strix. If this card is link summoned, we can special summon 1 level 4 Dark Winged monster from our deck, and then also we have chain link to the Arsenal Falcon in our grave, because this is the effect that I just read. It went to the graveyard while having an XYZ material, which means that we can now summon from the extra deck our first boss monster. monster, the Raidraptor Ultimate Falcon. This is an old card that is basically in the new XYZ pack. It will get this one as material. This is what the Arsenal Falcon says. And then the Brave 6, the Y-Strix, sorry, will also summon us the Mimicry Lanius, which I think is one of the new cards. So let's firstly read the Raidraptor Ultimate Falcon. You might know this card already. It says unaffected by other cards effect. So if you nip here, obviously doesn't really matter. You can detach one material from this card for the rest of this turn. All monsters your opponent controls lose 1k attack. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects. So at this point, you could detach this Arsenal Falcon here to basically say that your opponent can no longer use any hand traps, I think, or also infinite impermanence, obviously. I think this is not that relevant because at this point, you basically were able to use all of your hand traps, Nibiru, Ash, Veiler, Draw a Lockbird, you name it, you should have used them all before this point, so this is a cool effect. Then again, it does not really matter. It does matter if you want to break your opponent's board, obviously, then you can use this guy to detach and then you can clear the field more effectively. We can, for the sake of the combo, leave this under here. This will enable another play in a moment here. Next thing we are going to do is we are going Y-Strix here, because if an XYZ Raidraptor monster effect is activated, we can set a rank up spell from our deck. This is what we are going to do. The Rise Rank Up Magic Raidraptor's Force, which will get us the next turn into our new boss monster here. Then we overlay this for the old Strix, the Force Strix. We can detach one and then add one level 4 Darkwing monster from our deck to our hand. A new one, a Strangulanius. I think this is one of the new ones. If you control a dark monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. That's nice. We can do this. And then we can, if you control an XYZ monster with a dark XYZ monster as material, so this is the Arsenal Falcon under the Ultimate Falcon, which if we would have detached that, this would not be possible now. We can also revive one level 4 or lower Raidraptor monster from our graveyard, which we are going to do. We are reviving the Tribute Lanius here. Next thing we can do, we can activate from the grave the Mimicry Lanius, banish the Mimicry Lanius, and then add one Raidraptor, is it card or monster card from our deck to our hand. We are going to add the Roost. This is a new card. If a Raidraptor monster is special summoned from the extra deck, you can add one Raidraptor spell trap from your deck to your hand except Roost, and then you can target 3 of your Raidraptor monsters that are banished or enter your graveyard and place them on the bottom of the deck and then draw a card. So this gives us back our resources and also gives us the ability to search something, which is nice. So we are now going to XYZ into another Force Strix here. This will trigger then our Roost. We can search the counter trap. It's not really a counter trap. If you control a Raidraptor monster, target one face up monster your opponent controls, or if you control a Raidraptor XYZ monster, which we do, then we can also target one face up card our opponent controls and negate that effect until the end of this turn. So you can negate an evenly match with this. You can negate a droplet with this if your opponent does not send a trap card for the droplet, that is. So everything basically that our opponent could do on the field, you can target with this card and then negate, which is very nice. Obviously, we can now use this Y-Strix here, Force Strix. I always call him Y-Strix. I always mess these two up, but Force Strix effect, because this is not once per turn, we can once again grab a level 4 Dark to our hand, and here's the Raider Swing. And the Raider Swing is very interesting because if this card is in our hand or graveyard, we can detach one material from our Dark XYZ and special summon this. And now I'm going to talk about what you can do if you have the Raider Swing in your opening hand, if you can get this to the field, which is very nice because this one says an XYZ monster whose original attribute is dark and has this card as material gains this effect. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. So if you have the ability to, and this is why we also have a lot of Raider's Wing in our deck, you can make the Raider's Knight with the Raider's Wing, thereby protecting your Raider's Knight, which is one of your core plays that you definitely want to interrupt as the opponent with an Imperm or an Effect Veiler. You can basically protect your Raider's Knight from being Impermed or Effect Veilered or target any otherwise as long as this material is under this. So this is something you can do if you have this in your opening hand. Very, very nice. In this moment here, we will not do anything with this. We can just summon it to the field. And now we are in our opponent's turn and we can use the new Rise Rank Up Magic Raidraptor's Force. During the main phase of your opponent or your opponent's battle phase, target 2 or more Raidraptor XYZ monsters you control and or in your graveyard, including a monster on the field. If at least 2 remain face up at resolution, special summon 1 Raidraptor XYZ monster from your extra deck with a rank equal to the combined ranks, and if you do, attach the targeted monsters to it as XYZ material. So we're going to target the Force Strix, and then in our grave we are going to target the Raider's Knight and then also the Brave Strix, which these equal up to, I think it's 13 because you have 4 from this and then 4 from this and 5 from this, which would be 8, which would be 13. And we are going to summon the new boss monster here, the Raidraptor Rising Rebellion Falcon. Normally it needs 5 level 13 winged beast monsters. Obviously this is not possible really. Unaffected by others cards effect, same as the Ultimate Falcon. Note here, this will have a 5,300 attack. Then if this card is XYZ summoned, you can destroy as many cards your opponent controls as possible. Then if this card has 3 or more Raidraptor XYZ monsters with different names as material, which at this point it doesn't if you add the Raider's Knight to it, obviously, but if it would be the case, then you can also inflict damage to your opponent equal to the combined original attack of the destroyed monsters, which can be enough to just kill your opponent. Once per turn, you can also detach 3 materials from this card and target one Raidraptor XYZ monster in your graveyard. This card gains that monster's effect until the end phase, which is quite nice because you will have material under this, the 3 material, and then if your opponent cannot out, and keep in mind this has not 4,000 but 5,300 attack. My god, my English here. So that means that an Access Code Talker would need to battle trade with this, and this would need to be an Access Code Talker with at least link 3, so this is something to gain here if the entire board is cleared by the Rising Rebellion Falcon. But you can also then on your turn use this one to basically once again enable your plays by the second effect here on the card. So all in all, saying this deck is weak, it doesn't really hit it, and all in all saying this deck will be a meta threat or opponent, all in all doesn't really also hit it basically, because neither in the OCG nor in the TCG does it or did it make a big impact here. As I already said, it's weak to basically every hand trap up until this point where you can protect yourself. I think this is the biggest weakness of the deck. It's a very combo heavy deck that can be disrupted quite easily and has a lot of weak points where it can be effectively disrupted. Also has this common problem that you need your normal summon and then you have a few extenders, and if your opponent can deal with your normal summon, then same with Salamangreat, it can be the case that you just can't place your extenders because a lot of your extenders basically say if you control a Raidraptor monster you can extend, but if your normal summon Raidraptor monster is already gone, then what are you going to do? Which is another weakness of the deck in my opinion, an aspect that makes a lot of decks weak that have this special aspect to it, if you want to call it that. So very weak to hand traps. Then again, what is very nice is that you have 2 unaffected boss monsters, one of which has 5,300 attack here on my shoulder for saying this correctly this time, which is very, very hard to out, especially because we have or don't have these Snake Eye decks that always run Kurikara in their lists running around. You might want to include this in your Fire King Snake Eye deck if you are playing this. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, I mean, being able to make an unaffected boss monster is always very strong in Master Duel's best of 1 format. It was also strong with Pearly, for example, even though I think Pearly is a better deck in my opinion. So if you want to go for the strongest XYZ boss monster deck, then you would go for Pearly. But yeah, a lot of people are hyped for this, and this is totally fine. I just think that this will not be a deck that will make a big meta splash, and at the latest point when Tenpai and then the Fiendsmith engine comes out, this will be gone from the ladder, I think. Obviously, a lot of people will play this in the beginning, so if you want to go tech your Bystials in, I guess, because Bystials can definitely disrupt this deck at some point. Obviously, everything here is dark, and then also you could play cards like Shifter. Also, the deck is very weak to Shifter, but if you can manage to get up your boss monsters, then it's basically game over, because it's really, really hard to push through these boss monsters. You have to push through two unaffected boss monsters, which is not that easy. So I think if you have reached this point, then the deck is very, very strong. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you excited for the deck? Will you play the deck? Will you invest in the deck? Let me know. And thanks for being here. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell, and we will see each other in the next one.